Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the P-LotPodcast. John here, joined once again by the main man himself, Michael Angelillo. Michael, what's going on, my friend?
Um, we're doing pretty good, I guess. We are uh, decently removed from the second round sweeps, and that's pretty good. The NBA and NHL playoffs, they've been pretty good. Not the
Well, I
best
would
year, but
say
certainly not the worst.
certainly, unfortunately for the Flyers, who got swizzepped by the Carolina Hurricanes, the Canadians Sabres series has been ultra competitive. Michael, did you watch the game the other night between the Canadians and the
I
Sabres?
did. That was a crazy one. Buffalo
Yes.
getting up early,
So
Montreal scoring like six straight.
friend of the show, Mac, um, watched it at Barnaby's on Thursday, and we had to actually ask to put it on, along with the Phillies. And
Tough.
yeah, and Canadians scored four unanswered goals, and yikes, man. I mean, we'll see what happens with Game Six, but I kind of want to see Canadians and Hurricanes for the.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, ultimately, it just feels like you're going to get Carolina and Colorado inevitably. I'd be kind of
I agree.
surprised if it wasn't. And like, listen, I think I think Carolina's due to finally break through and get there. And I think Colorado is just such a machine that like it just makes too much sense. They'd have to play pretty poorly to, I think, lose it to Vegas. But yeah, NHL's winding down. The NBA will have a game seven Cavs Pistons tomorrow before they go play the Knicks, which similar to the Hurricanes, it feels like the Knicks are just kind of going to roll whoever they play on their way to the finals. But I know
It would
we
honestly,
have to
though,
see.
Michael. I will say this: this Knicks team. I kind of think I tweeted this out. The Knicks are just going to get rolled by the Thunder if they play them in the
I don't
finals.
know if they're gonna get rolled. I
They're
really
going to get
we'll
rolled.
have to see it, but I don't know if they're gonna get rolled. I really do think the Knicks are very good.
I mean, the Knicks.
But
I mean, the Hawks took the Knicks to 6 games. It's
yeah, I
not
mean
like
they won 2 games by 1 point each, and then they didn't come close the rest of the series. Like, it's one of those, like, man, how'd they really get 2 on them when you look back and you see that they won game 6 by 55 points, and it's like, okay, well, there's clearly was a disparity in talent, and they won on some fluky nonsense for 2 games, which is what happened. Yeah, we'll see. It really like, Brunson's would show up, and like Cat probably would show up, and Anunoby if he's healthy would show up well. It's really honestly, it's a lot of their role players, a lot of their bench guys. Mikal Bridges is
I
gonna
just want to see Josh
like.
Hart like screw up a game for them
Well, I understand.
of
I
his
get it.
yapping. It's just very
Yeah.
annoying.
Well, and
It's
listen,
very
they
tiresome. Like, dude,
they've
like
unfortunately earned every right to say anything they want to say to us because we are not even in the same stratosphere. There, you get your ass kicked, they're gonna talk shit, and what are we supposed to do? You
no,
know what I
understand.
mean?
I mean, talk crap on the players. I mean, okay, I think this is a very good segue into. This is an excellent segue into
Yeah,
today's show's first discourse.
yeah.
All right, Sixers get swept. Daryl Morey, ding dong, the witch is dead. He is out of here. Michael, when you first heard the
It's
news
huge.
that he got canned, did you expect him to get fired? We saw Howard Eskin was tweeting he was getting canned.
Yeah, I
We were
mean,
very skeptical of it.
yeah, I kind of thought he would. Um, it was one of those things I did a total 180 on everything. Like, entering the playoffs, I really thought that Nurse and Morey had very little chance to keep their jobs, especially when they went down 3-1. If they just got rolled by Boston in 5, like we all kind of thought, like they both would have been out of here. No one would have blinked twice. Um, Nick Nurse like coaches his ass off the rest of the first round. Embiid plays out of his mind. Like Paul George is playing great. Everyone's playing great, and they come back and they do the whole thing and they beat the Celtics, and we're all super happy and excited. I think that earned Nurse's job back. I absolutely do. And depending on how they played against the Knicks, even if they lost, I think Morey's job would have been safe. If the Sixers lost in 6 games and it was a gritty, tough battled 6 games with the Knicks, I think Morey stays. It's the fact that they got completely embarrassed, completely outclassed, and completely out like depth and out talented, like everything. Their stars played better than our stars, and their depth, like, wildly outplayed our depth, and they got swept because of it, and, I think it made a lot of sense to fire Morey, for a guy that is still trying to build teams, like, it's 2018, 2019, 2017, like, he's trying to build teams of the get multiple stars on the team and, my margins of depth are it's not that important. It's gonna be if my stars play well, we'll have a shot to win, and if they don't, it's on them for not playing well. And truthfully, the way the NBA has shifted really like post-COVID, but especially today, it's never been more important today. And Bob Myers said this a lot in the presser, which we'll talk about. It's never been more important to have depth than it is in today's NBA, and you see that all around the league. You see the New York Knicks running like a 9-man rotation, 10-man rotation, um, in like close games, and they're all contributing and they're all having big moments. You're seeing a game like last night where Cade Cunningham shoots 1 for 10 in the second half, and the Pistons still blow out the Cavs on their way to forcing a game 7 because the depth was out of it was playing fantastically. Like, Tobias Harris was horrible, obviously, nothing surprising there. Cade Cunningham had an awesome first half and was terrible in the second half, but guys like Paul Reed, funny enough, off the bench were huge. Duncan Robinson was huge for them. Jenkins was huge for them. It's just those guys really, really took over the game, in the second half and took what was like a close game. It was only like a 5-point game or so at half, and you blinked, and all of a sudden it was 13, and then it never really got under 10 the rest of the way. And it was largely carried by their depth. And you see the Spurs and and the Thunder. Those teams have, again, like 8, 9 guys that are all capable of playing serious minutes and being serious contributors. And if you want to be the best team in the NBA, you can't sacrifice along the margins. And Daryl Morey, like, you can argue he shouldn't have gave Embiid the big extension, and like that would have been a really tough thing to do, but whatever, maybe regardless, even if you do that and give Embiid the big extension because you're trying to do right by the guy that you've screwed over his whole career, giving Paul George 34-year-old Paul George a 50 plus million a year contract is just like tripling down on your philosophy. Not to say that Paul George has like been bad or Paul George sucks or anything like that. But the truth is that at his age and his like physical capabilities at this point, he isn't able to consistently take over games the way that a guy making as much money as he does, you would expect him to, or you would want him to. He's not capable of doing that anymore. And he's still capable of being a really nice contributing piece, but maybe if he was only making like 25 million instead of 55 million. And that's
There
like
was no way
that's the big issue there.
there was no way Paul George didn't have major red flags if he actually did do a physical before signing with the Sixers.
No, it was just like that was the big fish on the market, and like that's what Daryl Morey kind of goes and does. Like he goes and acquires that sort of player, and it really just ties one hand behind your back, where you're put in an opportunity where the Sixers last year were a joke. They were terrible. And the only way that they acquired a fourth good player on their team was because Daryl Morey's strategy bottomed out. Embiid wasn't healthy all year. George was barely healthy all year. And the team sucked. And they got the third overall pick in the draft and selected VJ Edgecombe, who happens to be light years ahead of where we all thought he'd be as a rookie in terms of like just a complete basketball player. The sky really is the
Dude,
limit for him.
friend of the show, Mac was talking to me about VJ Edgecombe, and he was saying he's like, John, I think it was kind of BS they gave Cooper Flag Rookie of the Year because he missed a ton of games. He said it should have been between Con Canoople and VJ Edgecombe, And I was like, well,
I mean, Cooper Flag was really good, and he didn't miss like a ton of games. Like he still played. Mm, this doesn't show you games. He still played
they hide
70
the game.
games. Like he played 70 games. Like it's not like he played
Yeah.
63, like 66 and barely got like, regardless. VJ's great, and it's just like besides those four players, we talked about it ad nauseum the whole playoffs that it's like they have these great players, and then you have your next two best guys are Kelly Oubre and Quentin Grimes, and those guys just like wouldn't get much playing time if at all if they were on any of those contenders that we have just spoken about, and that's the problem. And Daryl Morey, like, if you want to build your team in this way, which again is not even remotely a guarantee to be a winning formula in today's NBA, the thing you need to prioritize is young depth around the margins because young depth means they're not making a ton of money and it means that they have an opportunity to grow into something that is really, really helpful. The only reason the Sixers never bottomed out from say 2020 until 2024 was because even though Tobias Harris was on like a pretty much max contract and was playing terribly on it or not close to a max player, Tyrese Maxey was on a rookie deal playing like a max player. That was like the here's the bailout so you guys aren't like a lottery team the first time they lost to the Knicks. And it's because Tyrese Maxey was playing at such a high level despite not making a ton of money. And the Sixers, the only reason this year that they weren't a lottery team again was because of their rookie VJ Edgecombe was playing like a star, like for parts of the season, not the whole season, but for large stretches of the year, was playing like a really, really, really good player. And it was like, wow, this
Yeah,
makes up for the
BJ
fact that Paul
Edgecombe
George
really.
isn't a
Well, I
$55
think that
million
this
dollar
is where a lot
player.
of people. I think this is where a lot of fans want the team to go in the direction of having Maxi and Edgecombe as the top two players and see what you could get for Paul George and Embiid potentially in the trade market because we need depth.
I mean, the unfortunate thing is Paul George has value. You could probably get something decent that fits
Paul
better.
George has what, 2 years left on his contract? 3 years left? 2 years
He
left?
has like 1 year and a player option or something. Like the thing is that Paul George, you could move him. There would be teams that would be interested in a guy like Paul George, and you could get some like the Magic, for example, and you could get some like decent players that are just new, like 2 to 3 decent players that match up the salaries, and you move off for Paul George. That's not impossible, and I think that could be something that whoever this next GM looks into. Joel Embiid, you're not trading him unless you attach like 2 first round picks to him. Like full stop. You're not moving off of a guy that's making as much money as he's going to make, that his body might only be good for about 40 games a regular season, and then you're just kind of hoping a prayer on the play. Like no contending team is going to want that. The only team that would take that on is a team that's just trying to acquire some assets and get rid of a bad contract and just wait till Embiid's like contract runs out and take the 2 first round picks the Sixers give for him. Like that's the realistic angle of it. So all that to say, Joel Embiid's not getting traded. I would be absolutely the only way he actually gets traded is if he goes up and he asks and says, "Can you please trade me?" Which probably isn't going to happen. So he's going to be on the team next year. And even rival execs gave out that quote that was like, "Listen, their best bet I think is to just load manage the hell out of Embiid and just kind of take your shot again. Like build around the margins, make the team as good as you possibly can, or like around him. Really invest in the backup center, and you just kind of hope and pray that he's healthy for enough for the playoffs, and you can go on a run. And like that blows. That really is a frustrating strategy that is very difficult to kind of fully materialize. But it's honestly your best bet to do until he finishes this contract and then in turn retires after this contract. Like that's your best option. It's like to if I were running the Sixers and what my goal would be, I would try to trade Paul George somewhere to just get and again, loved Paul George for what he was doing this year, but just to get multiple players for that sum of money and I would invest into a backup center, and I would, just try to build along the margins as best as I can and hope VJ continues to develop and get Embiid on like a super strict schedule like he was on this year, and just hope come playoff time. Really, like it's just a hope and a prayer come playoff time, and hopefully my team around him is good enough where he doesn't need to drop 28 in order to have a shot to win on any given
Well, I
night.
think your big thing too is the VJ Edgecombe development, where he takes the next step, and it's like he's kind of like a star, I guess. Like he's like an all
Yeah,
star.
like he really is like, and again, it's very hard to have linear growth. Not everyone's like Tyrese Maxey, for example, who has gotten better pretty much every year. But if he does, like, it's really, you're right. It is stardom by next year, because he was that good as a rookie. But we'll see. Let's talk about the presser. So Bob Myers and Josh Harris sat down in front of the Philly media to discuss Daryl Morey's firing and to discuss what
Michael,
their future
we have to
plans
watch what
are.
we Michael, we have to watch what we say about one of those individuals, because
Yeah.
apparently one of those individuals has a Gestapo goon squad that follows everyone on social media and sees who talks about one of those people that we're not going to say, and throws people out of games, not dissimilar to one James Dolan, owner of the Knicks, who uses AI to facial detect
And you
people.
know what? That's a good comparison because we've said it before on this podcast, and it's true to an extent. If you told Knicks fans, "Are you ever going to win anything under Dolan?" They would have said, "No, there is no chance that we are winning a damn thing with
And they
James
will
Dolan
blame him
leading the team."
if and when they get demolished.
Regardless, the fact of the matter is that they've built themselves a very good team. They really have. They've all these players are like bought too. Now it's not even like, oh, we're just New York and we have all this money. It's like, Jalen Brunson's not making as much money as he possibly could for some like money laundering thing. But it's like they went out and traded Julius Randle and DiVincenzo and got Cat. They traded a bunch of the first round picks for Mikal Bridges, who's settling in finally. They went out and got OG Anunoby. They went out and got Jalen Brunson. Like
Josh
Mitch,
Hart.
Josh Hart. They went out and got, like, the only guy that they've drafted is Mitchell Robinson, and it's like all those players are very, very impactful for them. They built themselves a really good team, and that's just what to show a really good GM under a terrible owner can work. You just have to be smart, and Daryl Morey isn't smart. So to say that it's impossible to win under Josh Harris, it's not true. It is possible. We've had teams in the past that were very much capable. Uh, you just need to have a good GM running the show here, and hopefully, I guess working alongside Bob Myers, that is what they do. Obviously, Bob Myers, the head executive or whatever, basically of the Warriors dynasty, won 4 championships, but gave a lot of words out in his answers. Honestly, not really much anything of note that he said, I would say.
Well, I don't think Bob Myers was ever pressed by the San Francisco sports media, because they
He did lolook a little nervous up there. Like he gave a few answers that were like,
yeah, it's
and I
because
guess, listen, it makes sense, man. They won 4 championships. They were always winning. So like,
well,
what
Michael,
pressing could you really provide?
Michael, Philadelphia sports media is, I would say, when it comes to how vicious the sports media is in like overall in the country, I would say, I'm not gonna, and this is not in any order. This is just like the ones I would say. L.A. media, like the Lakers, for example, like they are crazy with the Lakers. Like that, they're like the Eagles are here. Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, Boston, right?
Sure.
Right. If this was in New York, I'm sure he would have been stuttering, because the New York reporters would have all asked, like, they would have asked all these off the wall questions.
Yeah, I mean,
Torts threatened to fight a New York reporter. Like
yeah,
that's
I
how
mean, listen,
brutal they are.
yeah. So with Bob Myers, like, I didn't get any super impactful information out of him. He's going to be working alongside the GM, whoever it ends up being, and like that's, or
Do you think they just
president,
wrote out
whatever
the
they
brand?
hire. No,
because no one wants
Honestly,
to
not
come
at
here.
all. Well, I don't know. I don't think they just promote Ellen Brand. I guess they could, but I really don't think they do. I think they like him where he's at with his role and would like to just get someone else. But again, not many significant answers came from Bob Myers. Really, the questions that we were wanting were the ones that were going to be directed to Josh Harris. He gave probably the most noteworthy answers with some stuff. They asked him about the luxury tax, and he said, "We have a green light on the luxury tax." And there's never been a time where it's not been a go for me. It's always, if the GM has something or President of Basketball Ops has something that's going to push in the tax, I'm all for it always. That's not even a realm of thought when we have conversations. And Bob Myers, like, doing his like lapdog, jumps in and is like, and like, just to reiterate, like, I if I had a move that I went to Josh here and said, well, this is going to put us in the luxury tax, and he said no, which would never happen, by the way, then I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't take this job if that was the case. So and that's just like,
Hey Daryl, how does that bus feel that we're throwing you under?
yeah, yeah. Even though they both like did a lot of defensive Daryl as well in this, they really they had their cake and ate it too, which is pretty crazy. But that's just not true. I don't want to rehash some times where they definitely could have went into the tax to make the team better, and they
No, no,
chose
no,
not
no, no,
to. But
no. But I think, well, it's also worth noting
it's
that
just bullshit. Really, it's just bullshit. I don't
right.
believe
Thank
for a
you,
second.
thank
I'm
you.
not to say that like Josh Harris. It's a little different. I don't think Josh Harris is always up there saying, "Don't you dare go into the tax because I'm not spending it this year." But it's like,
It's corporate.
it's more like, I am only gonna go into the tax if it's like a wow move. He's not going into the tax for some role player or some backup center. He went into the tax when they acquired James Harden because they couldn't like balance the money or whatever. So it's like, well, we got James Harden. That's an excuse to go into the tax. That's a huge deal right there.
Yeah, because we can
But
sell
like,
James Harden merch. We can, sell
all of it,
tickets.
all of it. And listen, James Harden was good here, no doubt about it. But it's like, I don't think he's running to put the team into the tax for like Day'Ron Sharp and like Sadiq Bey, and while also
Because he
keeping
doesn't know who
McCain.
those people are.
Yeah, he doesn't care enough. Like, he doesn't ultimately care enough. And if you're the GM, you got to like sell him extremely like, oh, this is the greatest thing, I guess, to maybe get what he wants. I don't know. Listen, if that's the behavior he's going to say, there's a total green light. We better be in the tax every year now for until Embiid's retired. Like, ultimately is what it needs to be. Um,
Here's another. I'm not, and Michael, if I'm being negative, it's not because I'm being on purpose. It's because I'm just being honest.
mhm.
Michael, I wouldn't believe a single word that comes out of that man's mouth if his tongue was notarized.
Yeah, no. Well, listen, he said
Because
it,
remember,
so now we just need to
Michael,
see
he
it.
didn't know about Jeffrey Epstein, uh, and he claimed he didn't know who he was. And then when
Yeah,
he got out, oh well, he tried to contact me. And then,
yeah. And now,
oh wait, now he's emailing me. Oh, him and I email
shout
nonstop.
out Kyle Newbeck for asking a question. He said, "What do you have to say to the fans, or what do you have to say on the matter that there have been fans that they can't sell the team and they've been kicked out for it, and how much of that do you think is also related to non-basketball related things that you have yet to address?" That's what he said, and that you have yet to address was like the best part of that question. And he just he's a professional that's been in this industry for a long time of just rich people things. So he skated by the question like it wasn't there, and just said, "Yeah, no one's more pissed off than me." He basically tried to sell it like, I do care that we're not winning or whatever.
It's you
When
know what?
that wasn't the question, man. That was not the question.
No,
Guys got kicked out for chanting "sell the team," and that was the question. And it was also like, oh, by the way, there's also like a massive elephant in the room that you just continue to ignore if you want to talk about that. And he said, I care that we lose. No one's more mad than me, dude. I'm sure, man. I'm sure no one is more mad than you when the Knicks fans spend $600 in your pockets of on Sixers tickets. That's just me though. So yeah, ultimately the presser was like a more than
I
anything, it
so
was a nothing burger.
I have a couple
What
thoughts
do
as
you
well.
got?
I think Daryl Morey, that is, leaked a ton to the media about the Sixers, like things about Embiid, like all the Embiid discourse
Mhm.
and all the things about him to give the media nuggets so they wouldn't personally attack the front office slash ownership. And by that, I mean, oh, hey, if you feed me this information, we won't go after the owner because Michael, why is Jeffrey Lurie getting more criticism from like this media here than Josh Harris? Why is John Middleton
Uh,
getting more criticism from the media here?
well, it's because it's apathy. No one care like, unfortunately, a lot of people don't care about the Sixers, and Embiid is just
The
such a
Sixers sell out almost every game, Michael. It's not like they're like
I mean, the fans go, but it's not the same. It's just not the same as what it used to be when they first started getting good again, and it's like,
like,
you
what would
go into the city of
WIP do?
Philadelphia.
What would WIP do if tomorrow Joel Embiid gets traded to like the Sacramento Kings and then
I mean, they
like
would just talk about, was Joel Embiid's career a success? Was the process a
well, how long
success?
can
It'd
you
be
talk
all that.
about that? Because here's the
I'm
thing.
just saying, they don't care.
This is the point. I think this is the difference between old journalism and like new journalism. Is old journalism like the like old journalism, and this isn't me just being like a nostalgia merchant. They
Mhm,
would have just nonstop harass, talk bad about Josh Harris.
mhm.
You know, it would have just been like, this guy's a piece of garbage. Get him the F out of Philly to the point where maybe he just gets so tired of criticism. He's like, you know what? I hate this place. I hate this city. I'm going to sell the Sixers, take my $4 billion, wherever I'm going to sell them for, and then go on, buy my own island. You know,
Yeah, no, it's really, you would think, but I mean, I don't know, they just don't. The truth is they really don't care enough, and it's like, even the general fan base, if you ask if they're gonna win a championship, would you care? Like, the people Xfinity Live, or if they were in just Center City walking around, no one's gonna think they're like, the future is bright or remotely anything positive regarding the Sixers, and yeah, it's just the scape of the way that the sports teams are viewed here. Obviously, the Eagles are always and will always forever be won by like a wide margin in this city. And really, the other three teams, it's one dependent if they're good or not. If any of the three teams remaining are like very bad or just not good, they're not going to get talked about. Like, they will not. I don't know. I don't remember hearing a ton about the Phillies from 2015 through 2018. You know what I mean? When they were truly putrid, and like, you'd get some nuggets here or there because during the summertime there's nothing else going on. But it's like, as soon as you could talk more about the Eagles, they're talking more about the Eagles. And it's like the Sixers, if they're bad, they're not going to be talked about. Even if they're good, it's still not
well,
going to
geez, look at
be.
the Flyers.
And the Flyers, they were in hibernation until now, and then they're going to still be in hibernation
But here's the
until
difference, though,
something
Michael.
happens.
This is the difference, though. When you look at basketball, the history of the sport of basketball, one of the meccas of basketball is the city of Philadelphia.
Philadelphia and basketball have a extremely rich history.
Yes,
Extremely.
yes, and I think that at some point, like this is the first time I think anyone's ever talked about really Josh Harris really selling the team. Like it's gotten to a point I think where the Eagles provided so much happiness that now that like AJ Brown's likely gone, we got the new offense that we're not sure yet. We're not because we haven't seen it yet. And like, how much can you just keep obsessing over the Eagles where you get kind of tired of it? I think to a certain extent. To a certain extent,
You don't
um,
got to tell me.
right? Where it's like, oh my, like I want to be interested in other things, and like, oh look at the Flyers, oh my god, look at like we made the playoffs for the first time in 6 years. They beat the Penguins. Oh my god! Then you look at the Sixers, and you're like, they're spending all this money on like Embiid, George, Maxey. We had the third overall pick. Why is this so off the rails? It's because the Sixers have a toxic ownership. You
Yeah,
know,
the owner, I mean, he obviously he should sell the team for just multitude of reasons, but it's like it would just really be nice if the next owner, like, just the rich history of basketball in Philadelphia, like, to reignite that, because it is like a sleeping giant to an extent, but it's at this point, you're just setting up generations to not have decent Sixers basketball, where it's like there was a generation that did not have good Sixers basketball. I grew up in a time where the Sixers were like first round exits every year and living in purgatory and didn't break through. Obviously, they tanked for a handful of years, but didn't break through until Embiid came around. And then it was like, wow, this is wonderful. This is so fun. And you're just kind of back in that state of, I guess, purgatory until Embiid goes on, but it's like if you just get a new owner,
I have
you
another.
could just generate the fan love for the Sixers, the unconditional love that, like, eh, unconditional support, I'll say, that the Eagles get. Obviously, they get a lot of flack, but it's like, again, that stadium's never getting overran by another fan base's team, like, that's just not happening. But
I have a take I want to share too as well. Then we can kind of move on to the schedule release.
mhm.
I want us to talk about. Okay, we didn't touch on it earlier. Why did they fire Daryl Morey? Josh
Uh,
Harris does not care about winning or losing. So losing in the second round of the playoffs, that is not why he was fired. I'm telling you that right now. That's not why Daryl Morey got fired.
I uh, okay, what do you think?
I think he got fired because the Sixers were humiliated nationally with the Nick fan takeover. Josh Harris isn't going to fire himself. He's not going to fire the coach who, just lost his brother. It would look extremely like heartless because I think a lot of people sympathize with him. And frankly, what is Nick Nurse supposed to do when you don't provide him a bench? So
Right,
who
right,
the
right, right.
so who the heck is left? Oh, the fat lazy crypto bro who uses AI to help generate roster decisions.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I Josh Harris's desire to win definitely is questioned. I'm sure if you gave him a preference, he would say,
Josh Harris
"Yeah,
doesn't
to
care about
win."
winning or losing, but a lot of these weirdo billionaires that have that who have stones that are so small they can rattle around in a thimble. They have
Right.
very, very um, fragile egos. And I think when ESPN mentioned, "Oh wow, man, this Sixers ownership just seems very dysfunctional," like on national television, that's when he panicked. And I,
Yeah, yeah, I hear that. I hear that. I do think, I don't know. I think that the way the presser went, he very much, it reeks of desperation a little bit. But like he was very much trying to sell that Bob Myers is a championship winning executive. He's like, listen, we got a guy that's won 4 championships. This is a big deal here. This is important. Like, be excited that we have Bob Myers in the building, that he's so good and he's won all this stuff. Like, I do think that he wants to he wants to win enough where the fans keep caring. That's ultimately what it is.
I have good news potentially. I think the reason why he panicked so much it's about money. It's not about winning or losing for Josh Harris. By the way, I had a guy. I had a tweet that got a lot of like publicity. Some guy who's like clearly like a burner account was like defending Josh Harris,
Mhm.
and he tweets about other Philly things, but he nonstop defends Josh Harris, which makes me think this was a guy that probably is either part of like Harris Blitzer or he's just an absolute idiot,
Mhm.
whatever. But he's like, oh well, of course he cares about money. He's an owner. It's like, yeah, but like Middleton and like Lurie care about winning along with making money. Josh Harris, if the Sixers could make $10 billion by losing all 82 games and still make like a ton of money, he would
He
do
would
it.
probably do it. Yeah,
He'd
no,
probably
for
do it,
sure.
but as opposed to being embarrassed. But I guess the Commanders need a new stadium. He's been sucking up to the White House, Josh Harris, that is, to basically have the federal government pay for the new football stadium, which I'm going to tell you right now, there is no shot that federal tax dollars are going to be used to pay for the Commanders Stadium.
Yeah, I wouldn't
That
be.
now has to go to a vote. That has to go to a vote.
Uh, we'll see, man. We'll see.
Right. So, do you know what the Sixers are valued at?
It's like 5 billion. I just looked at it the other day.
Oh, I got 6 billion,
Okay, yeah, it was like
and they
five
don't own
plus.
and they don't own an arena.
I'm building the new one. He mentioned building the new arena that's being built soon.
So he's going
It's
to
just,
help. So he's going to co-fund the new arena for the Sixers, and then he's going to pay for the arena for the Commanders. I think he wants to. I think he's worried if the Sixers' value drops, that he's going to have to dip into more of his own money to pay for, because he's going to be all
yeah, but
paid
these
up.
sports teams don't drop in value. Like they haven't dropped in value maybe ever. Like it's always like a 10x return at least on what you buy it for. If you wait this certain
Right.
amount
I
of
shouldn't
time.
say
Like
drop in value. It's going to hinder the growth, is what I'm saying.
I guess
Like
ultimately,
how much
listen,
are the Portland Trailblazers worth? Do you think?
I don't know, but their owner's dirt cheap.
I saw
He's
that the
he's
reason
worse
why
than
he.
Harris.
So they're saying he's being so dirt cheap because the rumor is they're going to move the Blazers to Vegas.
Yeah, which is just crap. Like I don't know, Portland's got fans out there. You're gonna move them? It's
They're
messed up.
worth 4.25 billion, and they
That's what
own
I'm
their own
saying.
arena.
John, nothing. This industry is so large now. Like it's ultimately. Listen, we could clamor around about Josh Harris for another 3 hours if we wanted to. But we should move on. I will say to wrap up, I am intrigued. I'm very intrigued to see who they hire because who they hire is going to be a very interesting job. And I don't know. Listen, I, Embiid's not getting traded. I could almost guarantee that. George, I don't know. It'll really depend on the GM. It'll
Who
really
is the
depend on
guy,
their vision.
Michael? What's the name of the guy that the Thunder hired away from the Sixers that Hinkie was hyping up?
Their GM, Presti? Is that what you're
No,
talking about?
there's
Oh,
another guy,
I don't know.
Rosman.
I'm not sure. But
Vin Rosman or something.
I don't know.
Vince
Maybe.
Rosman.
Okay.
He's currently the vice president of identification and intelligence for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He was widely recognized as a highly respected, quote, hidden gem talent evaluator who previously spent 16 years building his career with the Philadelphia 76ers.
Listen, maybe it's time to make
He
a call.
directs their draft and identification. So basically, he's Sam Presti's like right hand man.
Listen, I think it's worth
That should be
looking into.
that should be the person who should be the GM.
That could be interesting. We'll see. We will see as the summer progresses. But yeah, NFL schedule came out. Now, we're not going to do our full game by game yet. We'll probably do that next week, maybe the week after. Who knows? Next weekend's pretty busy. Um, but but the whole thing's out, and what we kind of wanted to do is we wanted to look like sort of at the prime time slate, um, and really just kind of evaluate to an extent, who got the best cut of the pie between Amazon Prime, ESPN, and NBC, and what games are you super excited for? So the first prime time game that is not the opener um, is Cowboys Giants on Sunday night, week one. Now, listen, I get it. I get it. But at the same time, It's a little much to an extent.
You know what that is, Michael? That is Jerry Jones
It's a free ratings glitch. Like it's just
And John Mara, like constantly. The two most influential owners in the NFL are Jerry Jones and probably John Mara, then followed by Robert Kraft. Um, so yeah, dude, like they probably
yeah.
are, like the two leading people leading against the tush push were the Cowboys and the Giants. Shocker. And oh, give us a bone, Jerry. We should have it like week one because we have a special rivalry. Yeah, all right, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, just like looking around at the first 2 weeks of Sunday Night Football, Cowboys, Giants, whatever. But like week two is Colts, Chiefs, which is just not that is not moving me even a little bit. You're gonna I'm gonna be very hard pressed to get excited for that game. Truly, like, is Daniel Jones even gonna be back?
You
Like,
don't want to talk about the first game of the season, Michael? What's going to open the NFL slate this year? The rematch from
I
this.
guess we didn't actually talk about it ever. I just kind of like took it as it
That
was.
has well, so let's just talk about that briefly. So we knew the Seahawks. The tradition of the NFL is whoever wins the Super Bowl hosts a home game to open the next season. Right? Eagles have done it twice. Every team has done it. The only year they haven't really done it was the 100th anniversary of the NFL when they had Bears Packers. That's different. That's the oldest rivalry in the history of the NFL. That makes sense. Um, Man, do we think a certain story is going to be gone by the time that game is played? I'm going to say yes, potentially.
I we'll see, man. I don't know. I don't think it's guaranteed he's there. I don't think it's guaranteed. I don't know.
Look,
I genuinely have no idea. As a football game exclusively, like aside from all the whatever,
they're really banking on a certain player making a debut for a certain team, is what I'm saying.
yeah, no, they're definitely banking on AJ and they're banking on the Patriots putting together a better performance they did in the Super Bowl. Um, that opening game and on a Wednesday, of course, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. Some the NFL's uh, behavior. But like going around week one,
NFL, we'll call it
Monday,
NFL Hump Day.
yeah, like they're clearly banking heavily on Patrick Mahomes being healthy. Come week one because he has two primetime games slotted up, both of which at home to open up the season. Monday night at home against Denver and Sunday night week two at home against the Colts. So I'd be shocked if what isn't who's their backup? Isn't it Justin Fields? Isn't he the Chiefs backup right now?
Chiefs QB depth chart.
Chiefs depth chart. The
Yeah.
starter is Mahomes. Yeah, Justin Fields is
So,
the backup or Garrett Nussmeier. So yeah, I doubt that they're gonna have
dude,
Justin
Justin
Fields out
Fields
there,
being
man.
the Chiefs backup totally feels like when Vince
Bo
Young was
Nix
the
too, by the way, because Bo Nix obviously had a pretty rough injury that he's expected to be back. But again, are we really gonna get
Have you
a
seen
Jarrett?
pictures of his ankle post
Listen,
surgery?
I don't know how he's
Doesn't
going
look
to look,
good.
but he's going to play. What? You're going to have Jarrett Stidham, Justin Fields, week one, Monday night. My left ass cheek, man. There is no shot the NFL without did that. So we'll see. Week two is your first night of a Thursday night game, and you're opening up with definitely a banger. Lions Bills is a good one. Opens up the Bills Stadium. They're going to be, big time of like, oh, Buffalo's new home and Josh, and it's gonna be good. I think that's gonna be a good game. I'm looking forward to that. Um, Giants also getting two straight primetime games to open up the season. Sunday night against Dallas, and then they're at the Rams week two Monday night. Uh,
Can you
I don't
say
know.
holy? Can you say holy beatdown, Batman?
Yeah, they're hoping the
What's,
Giants
what's the
are
spread? I already
good.
know the spread for that game is going to be like minus. I'm going to say if
I'm
they
sure
get
it's
some,
out. Do you wanna look?
sure, why not? Let me
Let's
guess it.
take
Let
a
me guess
all
it.
right, go ahead. Give it a guess. I'll let you know how you do.
The Rams are 10.5 point favorites.
Uh, week two on Vegas Insider are trusted 8.5. Rams are minus 8.5.
You know what? When I said 10.5, I thought to myself, "Well, shoot,
10
you,
and a half is a little.
I mean,
And a half's right. It's
you
close,
have
man.
Peter Schrager, which, by the way, with like NFL with all this gambling now, I can totally see the national media glazing the Giants. Like when I say national, I mean like people with like sports books attached to them, like media with sports books
Yeah, yeah,
attached.
yeah.
They'll glaze the Giants. Everyone's going to hammer the over on their win total. They win 5 games because people forget John Harbaugh is a CEO coach, and they're going to be like, "Oh my
Changing the
god!"
culture. Oh, man.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
You're fine. Overall, looking at just, I think Amazon might have gotten the best slate. Amazon or ESPN, I think, got the best slate. I think Sunday night got the worst one. Just to quickly run through some of the Sunday night games. After Colts Chiefs week 2, week 3 Rams Broncos. That's pretty good. I get your sentiment. Your two teams that lost in the conference championship game makes sense. Okay.
Feels like a potential Super Bowl matchup.
Week 4 Sunday Night Football, Lions Panthers in Carolina. I'm not sure exactly what they're expecting the Panthers to be this year. And I guess if they're also expecting the Lions to struggle again, but that to me,
Well, the Detroit Lions are the favorites to win the NFC North. Favorable schedule. They did make moves.
bounce back.
They
I
made
get it.
moves.
I see
They
it.
made moves to improve their O line. Like, yeah, the defense may be sus, but like we've kind of already their defense has kind of been sus to a certain extent. But like in other words, like they have the stars, right? The Lions have their stars on defense, but the margins aren't have never been filled
Right.
very well. Um,
It's just interesting. I guess maybe this is my Northeast bias hating on NFC South and really just like general South professional sports is always pretty weak.
I'm going to be really
Um,
excited when we pick the divisional winners and we talk about prop bets in the next couple
yeah,
weeks.
yeah, I'm looking
Well,
forward to it.
I,
Week 5
right.
Sunday night, Ravens Falcons. I don't know if the Falcons are going to be good at all. I know they got Stefanski down there, but I don't like their quarterback situation remotely.
Well,
I,
I think Bijan's going to cook this year. Shocker! Oh my God, John!
so
Bijan
yeah, it's going to be
Robinson's going to cook.
Bijan and
Is
Derrick
this? But
Henry
like,
and
do you think Derrick
Lamar.
Henry's going to take a step back? Like, if you're going to say like, so this is the guy who used to be the best running back in the NFL. He's still in the convo, but here is the best running back in the NFL. I think that's maybe what they're going for.
I guess it's just
Because to
they're
your I mean, how
go
about this
ahead.
as like a Lamar revenge game because because of the collusion, like Lamar's just going
Yeah,
to.
I mean it's a revenge against the league wide for
Do
colluding
you ever feel
against
with
them.
do you ever see some of these games though, Michael, where
Mhm.
they're like, all right, we're going to take one of the best quarterbacks in the league, put like a so-so opponent, and have them like
Yeah, no, I get that. That's
throw like
true.
5 touchdowns. Everyone's going to be like, oh my God,
But it's like
Lamar.
we got back-to-back Sunday night NFC South home games. That's whatever. Week 6, you finally get back to
They're
some
trying to grow the game,
normalcy.
Michael.
Cowboys Packers week 6 Sunday night football. They
Oh,
love milking that one. Hopefully everyone's
oh
healthy. That's
God, I
always
can't,
good.
bro. Oh, I can't wait to see the fucking.
Week 7,
The Cowboys better pray that they're good when they play that game. I'm going to tell you
yeah.
why. Because besides the obvious Micah revenge angle, he might not be ready to play that game, Michael. He's going to start the season on the pup list.
Week 6, I'd like to think. But no, yeah, I guess that is a Micah revenge situation. Speaking of like returns or whatever, the next week, listen, once you get after week 5, you settle in like to week 6 Cowboys Packers, week 7 Chiefs Seahawks. That's the return of Kenneth Walker. Week 8 Eagles Commanders. That's another great one. Week 9, this is when you start getting like the Baker stuff. Baker starts popping up on these prime times every now and again. So you got Buccaneers Bears, which again, high on the Bears, excited for the Bears. Steelers Bengals week 10. Not super enticed with the Steelers at all this season. And they're on multiple primetime games as they usually are, but my lord, did they not deserve it. Then you get a fun one in Mexico, Vikings 49ers. I think that is a very sneaky, like, could be the best game all year on Sunday Night Football. I'm very high on the Vikings. I'm very high on, Kyler Murray on a league minimum contract, basically. I think that's I'd sign up for Kyler Murray on a league minimum. Like, I think it's probably about as good of a value on a quarterback as you could find in the NFL. Absolutely. And then week 12, uh, which is Thanksgiving, NBC finally got their muddy little mittens on Chiefs Bills, and honestly, that might be why the Sunday night slate is somewhat lacking because they sold their soul to get Chiefs Bills instead of that being the Romo Nance 4 o'clock slate. That's honestly because what do we always see every year? Feels like Eagles Cowboys Sunday Night Football is like is like in biblical texts of what we see every year, and we don't have it this year. And I think a big reason is because NBC put up the money for Chiefs Bills in that bidding process, and they got that. So Thanksgiving as a whole will be a pretty nice banger. We'll talk about that more. The Patriots, Chargers, Texans, Steelers, Bills, Pack, like Eagles, 49ers to wrap up Sunday Night Football. That'll be good. That'll be exciting. But Monday night's got some good ones. I think Monday Night Football, they're trying to like almost bring back. I feel like Monday Night Football last year kind of lost its fastball versus Thursday night. I thought the
I
Thursday
agree.
night games last year were
I very much agree with you.
I thought the Thursday night games were very good last year, and I think that it got to the point where people were very excited for Thursday night football, and that was a big deal. And by the middle to the end of the season, people were just not very into Monday Night Football. They were like, it was just taken as like a whatever because these games were not great, or you know. So I think they decided to bring it back. Broncos, Chiefs, big one. Giants, Rams. We talked about Lowell. Week 3, you're coming back with like a potential playoff matchup, Eagles at Bears on Monday Night Football. I think that's going to be a huge, huge matchup. Uh, Falcons, Saints as your NFC South. Like, I'm not against rivalries or anything like that, or division
Well,
stuff.
Michael, there's a
But
50% chance that one of those two teams is going to be in the playoffs.
wow, not giving a prayer's chance to the other ones.
No, I
Week
said there's a 50.
5,
No, one of those teams is in the playoff. Think about it. There's 4 teams in the NFC South.
are two going to make the playoffs?
Someone has to win it, Michael.
Oh,
Someone has,
oh, oh, 50% chance. Yes,
because I
okay, I
think
get
they're
what you're
all
saying.
deeply flawed teams. So
Yeah.
it's not like the NFC East where it's like Giants, Commanders. Oh, there's a 50% chance on one of those. Like no, like obviously
No,
not.
no, I hear you. You're right. Okay. Uh, Week 5, Bills Rams Monday night. That's a great one. I'm very excited. And listen, we'll talk about the NFL more. I'm still not. I'm not loving the Bills. I didn't love the Bills last year. It's really again, it just feels like another year of Josh Allen having to put the team on his back. Um,
I agree with
you
you
know
on
what I
that.
mean? But like, that's enough to give you good primetime games. I'll say.
Yeah,
It,
basically, the Bills made an interim coach like their actual head coach.
Yeah. Yeah. Week 6, Commanders 49ers. Listen, they're banking on the Commanders being good. That is something I noticed. Obviously they bank on the Eagles bouncing back heavily, we'll talk about, but they're definitely banking on Washington bouncing back as well, which don't know if that's like a guarantee or anything. I guess we'll see.
Could you imagine if Jaden Daniels gets hurt again? And it's what if like everyone does a 180 on Josh Harris because they're like, oh my God, look at the Sixers, how much a joke they are. Oh my God, look at the Commanders, look at how much a joke they're now back to being like the Daniel Snyder, like Washington football team.
Yeah. Yeah. Week 7, I couldn't tell you when is the last time that the Eagles played the Cowboys at home on Monday night. Do you know?
It feels like when we would play them on Monday night, it was always
In
in Dallas.
Dallas.
In Dallas, right?
Yeah.
This does to me. So I would say when I think of Eagles Cowboys Monday Night Football, the Amari Cooper like decimation game kind of comes to mind. That was
Was
at
that
home.
2020? Oh
Uh,
wait, Amari Cooper decimation game. That was
like
a Sunday at
2018.
like that was Sunday at like 4. That
Oh,
was Wentz. That was yeah. I don't know. I have vivid memories of that one. The Eagles haven't played at home against Dallas Monday night uh since 2005. Is that what StatMuse is telling me right now? They first of all, they barely played Dallas on Monday night. Period. Like, wow. The last time they did it was week 3 of 2021, which vivid memories. They got hammered. Jalen's first year as a starter. The time before that was seemingly week 2, maybe week 1. Monday night in Dallas, they lost 41-37. That seems like a miserable time. Then
wait,
they
which game was
finally
that? What year was that?
2008.
Michael, that was the game Deshaun Jackson, when he was
Yes,
scoring to score a
yes. That's a
touchdown,
core memory for me. I
let go
vividly
of the
remember,
ball, and they let the Eagles keep the ball at the one.
but they only got a field goal. I have a vivid memory of that as a child. That's one of my first earliest sports memories. Then on Christmas, Monday
Jeff
night in
Garcia. Wait,
2006,
that was Jeff Garcia. I was at your
the
house.
Eagles won 23 to
You were
7. I
like
mean, I was very much a baby
you and
there.
Maria were like roughhousing playing football. That's how
In
like
that was in Dallas. They won 23-7. The last
that
time the
was
Eagles had a home
when the
game.
Eagles won. Jeff Garcia. They interviewed him after the game. McNabb blew his knee out, so he wasn't
Mhm.
playing in that game. Jeff Garcia famously said, "Merry Christmas, Philadelphia," and then you saw the meme of that guy where he's like the old Eagle fan, where
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
"We're going all the way."
Looking, so they used to be on Monday night all the time. That used to be a thing. 2004 at Dallas, the Eagles won 49-21. 2000,
That
the
was when
last
McNabb
home
ran. That was when McNabb ran
ran
both ways,
around. Yeah, yeah.
and like John Madden had an orgasm on national television watching it.
The last time the Eagles were at home on Monday night against the Cowboys, you have to go all the way back to November 14th, 2005. The Eagles lost to the Cowboys 21-20. Seems like a brutal one, have to
When was
say.
that?
2005.
What we just say? What week it was?
I mean, it was November 14th. So it
So
was,
Donovan McNabb didn't start in that game because he was injured. I think that was
I was
Mike.
gonna say, right? Let's see. I'm pulling up Pro Football Reference real quick
I think
just
both
to
the
give a
Eagles
little.
and the Cowboys were. I think the Giants won the division that year.
That was week 10, sorry. That was week 10. Uh, the Eagles, Bill Parcells coaching the Cowboys. God, kicking off at 9 o'clock. That's really just ridiculous. Eagles went up 7-0, a 15-yard touchdown run for Brian Westbrook. Then Marion Barber, one run touchdown, 1 yard touchdown run, 7-7. Oh, McNabb was playing in this game, had a 2 yard touchdown run, 14-7. Couple David Akers field goals. They go up 20-7 in the fourth quarter. And then Drew Bledsoe throws a 20-yard touchdown to Terry Glenn.
Glenn.
Oh, John, this is horrible. This loss.
Yeah, I was there. Your dad was there too. So
Dude, they won 20-4. They were up 20-14 and they pumped the ball, they kicked the ball back off to the Eagles. And it appears that Donovan uh it appears that Donovan threw a 40-yard. Mike McMahon did throw 5 passes in this game. So I'm not really sure.
Oh,
But
so Donovan McNabb that year had a sports hernia, and this
would
was
he
the
like
also
come out sometimes?
yeah, and this was also the year when To got sent home.
Roy Williams, 46-yard pick six while the Eagles are winning 20 to
Oh no,
14
Roy Will.
with
Oh,
2 minutes and 43 seconds
well,
left in the fourth quarter.
Roy Williams. Funny enough, has
John,
a
that's brutal. Dude, you're up the game, you're up 6. You're ending the game and you throw a
do you
pick
see
six.
why when we're winning games by a lot, I'm like nervous at games when you're like, oh my God, John, we got the game in hand.
No, that's not. Well, that
And I'm
one
like,
that one's pretty egregious. Well, listen, whatever. So, first time since 2005, the Eagles have hosted Monday Night Football against the Cowboys. That's a long time, man. That's been a while. Moving on, Bears Seahawks. That'll be a good one. I'm excited for that one. Bills Vikings. Again, I'm high on the Vikings, but I think they're trying to reheat some of those nachos. Remember that Justin Jefferson game? Chargers Ravens. That's also I think going to be quite a good one. Week 11 Bengals Commanders Monday night. They're praying that they have a similar game that they had in 2024 where Jaden Daniels threw those big touchdowns. Week 12 Panthers Bucks. Have your NFC South. Week 13 Cowboys Seahawks. Obviously the Seahawks are going to be everywhere. We'll see what Dallas looks like by then. We'll see what Seattle looks like by then. Week 14 Steelers Jags. Not super high on the Steelers again. We'll see how the Jags are by then. Week 15, Patriots, Chiefs. That's end of the year. That could be seeding implications. That could be playoff implications. That's exciting. And then
Josh
they are
McDaniels and the Patriots.
could be, man. They are clearly on their hands and knees, begging to the heavens that the New York Football Giants are going to be like a wild card team, as they have them Week 16 Monday night in Detroit, hoping that that's like a
I
if the
can't
Giants win
wait.
this game, they'll
Michael,
be control their own
I
destiny.
cannot wait when we start talking about the teams because are they gonna they're gonna be like, oh my god, is Matt Nagy gonna be an NFL head coach?
Yeah, I mean we'll see, man. Week 17 Texans Packers, that should be a banger. So and Monday night, I mean, genuinely, I don't think I named one like looking through all the games, the only games that I could see being like a stinker in like a blowout fashion, it's it's really was the Giants games, not to be like a dick, but it's like week 2 Giants Rams and week 16 Giants Lions. And besides that, every other game is probably going to be pretty tight. Like, you know, if I had to, if all those lines were out today, the only two lines that would be that large of a disparity would be the Giants games. So,
Like
um,
the Giants would have to pray that Puka Nakua gets suspended or he's in rehab or something because he's going to
yeah,
get 200 yards receiving in that game.
yeah. Uh, Prime also did good for themselves. Obviously, Lions Bills to open it up. Week 3 Falcons Packers. The only thing with Thursday night, it can always be a little more funky. So I can give a little pass if there's some funk in their matchups. And Falcons Packers has a little funk to it, I have to say. Steelers Browns feels like that's on Prime at least once a year now. Like Al Michaels just nasally talking about the Browns and the Steelers, and it
Like
just
on a Cleveland Brown.
and then Kirk Hershey's like, I mean, Miles Garrett, and it's the whole thing. So week
Yeah.
5, Bucks Cowboys. That's they've had some like sneaky good games over the years. We'll see. That's in Dallas. Um, week 6 Seahawks Broncos, like a what could have happened Super Bowl, also a Super Bowl rematch. A lot of things. Week 7 Patriots Bears, also in their minds could have been a potential Super Bowl matchup last year. I'm sure. Bears pop up here a good bit. Week 8, Panthers Packers. I guess you're hoping the Panthers maybe pull off another upset, keep it close. Jags Ravens should be a good one. A couple AFC playoff team caliber teams. Week 10, Commanders Giants. Have it. That's fine. Week 11, Colts Texans feel the same way. Have it. That's fine. Week 12, you get Broncos Steelers. Again, you're never going to get me excited about a Steelers game, maybe ever. Week 13, this is a big one. This is one they're like, oh, remember 2018 Chiefs Rams week 13 Thursday. That's the hope. They want to just a dog fight week 13 Chiefs Rams. That's their banking on. Week 14 Vikings Patriots. Week 15. By the way, that Broncos Steelers game's Black Friday. Forgot to mention that's definitely the Black Friday game. Vikings Patriots. 49ers, Chargers, Eagles, Texans on Christmas Eve, Ravens, Bengals Thursday night. So, all in all, I would definitely say I think Monday night's got the best slate of games. I think Thursday night has a clear second best. I think Sunday night's clearly got the worst of the three. But again, we'll see. We'll see when it gets down to it. Before we talk about the Phillies, because we do have to talk about the Phillies. Because we don't have to complain as much as we maybe planned on because we're going a little longer. What holiday? What like holiday time period are you excited for the Thanksgiving slate? Are you excited for the Christmas slate? I'm gonna pull up both slates here. Um,
If you want to share your screen, let me know.
yeah. Let me You know what? Let me just do this. Hopefully, there's like a cool graphic. NFL holiday games. No, that's not right. These are all last year. Why would you? Why would you give me last year's games when I want this year's games? There's Christmas, but I want. Is there one with Thanksgiving in it as well? Uh, let's just do. Well, it's horse mentality from the NFL. So clearly, we're getting. God forbid we get both. Mm, Here's a cool graphic. We'll start with Thanksgiving, of course. Is this like AI generated? Is it on Facebook? And probably is AI generated then. That's all right. Here, this is actually from the NFL.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, literally. Ads. This is a total disaster. I'll be honest. My computer sounds like it's gonna take off in a flight in a second. Whatever. This is good enough. Share screen. Here we go. All right. Thanksgiving schedule this year. Thanksgiving Eve, which is on a Wednesday, because we need Wednesday football apparently.
On Netflix. So, which
On
means
on Netflix.
so this is my thing. I think this is a valid critique. Michael, it's Thanksgiving Eve for like the major demo for the NFL, right? Is the 1849 demo, right? That's when everyone goes out, meets up with their old high school
I mean, it's
buddies.
called Blackout Wednesday. Like this is a huge going out holiday the night before
Right.
Thanksgiving.
Michael, I'm going to assume most bars are going to probably Fugazi sign up for Netflix so they could show this game.
It's going to be a stressful time for them to set up Netflix for in bars. That's for
Right.
sure.
So are they, is the NFL going to be like, oh my God, we're going to just like the people that just stay home are going to watch this game? Because like,
They're just banking on people to make it work. Truly, I mean, it's a shame because listen, looking at these games as a whole here, these are great games, no doubt about it. This Thanksgiving slate is very, very good. It seems like we have the opportunity to have the best Thanksgiving slate in a while. That Thanksgiving night
on
game has
paper,
always
this is the best
the
I've seen.
Thanksgiving night game in my lifetime has largely been kind of a snoozer. But Packers Rams Thanksgiving Eve is going to be great. Bears Lions, that's a wonderful one. Eagles Cowboys, obviously that's great. Chiefs Bills, obviously that's great. And Black Friday, you throw the Steelers a bone and you put on Denver and you hope that the Steelers don't suck. And like ultimately, that's a really good slate. That is enticing. To If you had to compare that to this, oh my God, let's just do NFL Christmas. Only 4 games on Christmas time. You get Christmas Eve, and then the 3 games on Christmas. By the way, which is just asinine. But 3 games on Christmas. We have on Christmas Eve, Texans at Eagles. That's a good one. I'm very grateful this game is on Christmas Eve and not on Christmas Day. When it's on Christmas Day, it's just such a pain in the ass to go to. And then you have Packers Bears on Christmas, Bills Broncos, and the Rams Seahawks. I think these are, I mean, honestly, not for nothing, both holidays I think have incredible games. Don't you agree?
Of course, they're not going to put schlock. They're not going to put, you know, Jets Titans on Christmas.
No, no, they're not.
Because
But they
because
did.
because
They did
here's
good.
the reason why I think they want to put these games on Christmas is if the teams were bad, then like no one's going to go, and
Sure.
you don't want to broadcast a game in like a semi full stadium, right? It makes the NFL look bad,
Hmm.
right? Because if I mean I don't know, man. You look at like baseball, right? Like you feel like okay, games that sell out in baseball, July 4th, big game, big day for baseball. Memorial Day, same thing. Weekend, same deal. Okay, football. Oh, we want to. They're like NFL wants to compete with the NBA because that was NBA used to be Christmas used to be, and Thanksgiving used to be the NBA's holidays to do games, right? Well, now they want to compete with that, and they're going to
Yeah. I mean,
overtake them.
they're just, yeah, they already have.
They're a
And
juggernaut.
when you put games like this, it's just very good. But yeah, so that's the NFL, brief overview of the schedule. We'll talk about the Eagles one next week.
I just find it odd that not odd, but I feel like this is just kind of my opinion growing up too. I'm sure you're the same way. Like before like the NFL like would take over Christmas. Like obviously Thanksgiving has always belonged to the NFL, you know.
Yeah.
Like they used to only have the two games, now they have the third game, right? So it's all day, right? Christmas, like what's like a big thing to watch on Christmas Day? Like I was a kid, I don't know about you, Michael, because we're both part of the video game generation. When you were a kid on Christmas, up until like even like your late teens, like early adulthood, if you got video games on Christmas, you didn't watch
You were
TV. You
you
played
were playing
video
them.
games. You
No,
played
it's
video
true.
games,
I mean,
and you hung out with your family.
The NBA on Christmas always was good, always entertaining. I really miss the Christmas jerseys like that. Those games used to feel more special because they had the special uniforms, they had the special theming, but obviously everything sucks now, so it's not as good. But I do agree, that sentiment. I would always get a new sports game for Christmas, whether that be like a new NBA 2K or a new NHL, and I would go and play that in my room, during on for parts of Christmas before like hanging out with the family, like you said. But now it's like I don't know. It's just the NFL does a great job of making you feel obligated to sit in front of a TV and watch, and it's up to us as a society and human beings to reject that. Which it's just hard. They have us tied right around their finger. Unfortunately.
It's just sad though because I don't know if you saw this too. It's about sports gambling, uh,
Hmm. It's
which
not good, man. Like
which we
you
both
don't.
dabble in. Like not so I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but
No, but it's true. Like
I
it's
don't
like
but like there's people who are your age, Michael, who will bet their entire paycheck on sports.
yeah, no, it's just it's not good that it's like Merry Christmas. I have 5 parlays today. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's rough.
I
But
think it's fun to
listen.
joke about where you're like, oh, I did a parlay today, Merry Christmas if I
I
win.
mean, listen, you're yes, but it's like a lot of people aren't winning.
It's
It's
like
just like
it's almost like sorry, son, I couldn't pay for your Christmas because
right.
I blew your Christmas money on betting football. Like it
Yeah.
kind of it gives like it's almost like there's like a negative connotation to um right now because it's not all about just enjoying the game. Oh, like I remember
No,
when
it's skin in the game. That's what it is. You
yeah,
need
it's
skin
not
in the
like when you're
game.
a kid, you're like okay, like well, I'm sorry because we just got rid of the Christmas graphic there. Because I just want
Yeah,
to kind of talk.
you have Packers Bears as a Christmas game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
At
it's
one
not like
o'clock.
you're like a bear. Like it's not like a like I love Caleb Williams. He had this really great Christmas game. I got his jersey on Christmas. Like it's a good memory, right? It
Hmm.
doesn't feel like it's that for the NFL now. It's like oh yeah, Kyle Monungai got me 3 touchdowns on Christmas in my fantasy league. Or
Yeah,
like
or it's Caleb Williams threw for 225 passing yards on Christmas, and that
and
cashed my parlay.
if like he has a or Caleb has a bad game, then it's like
Yes, Caleb ruined Christmas because
Caleb
my
ruined
birthday hit.
Christmas for me because he cost me my parlay. Like it,
Exactly, and it's tough, man. It's really, but that's a whole nother conversation.
And that's what I'm saying. Like from like I feel like I'm because we do dabble in sports betting. Like I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but that's where it's like I
It's
don't
okay
know.
to admit that we are in
There's
the
one
wave of
last thing I
football.
want to talk about. Then we're going to move on to the Phillies, and we'll talk not talk anymore about the NFL. Do you feel that the Sunday slate has been cheapened by a lot of these primetime games, like like having the full Christmas slate, having the full like Thanksgiving
Oh,
slate?
of course, John. I really like those weeks, week 12, what is that, Christmas, week 16, like they're absolutely even week 1 to an extent. Like the 1 o'clock slate on Sunday has absolutely been sacrificed to an extent. And it's almost because they know that the majority of fans, I don't know if the majority, but a ton of fans just watch Red Zone, you know? So it's like they can get away with removing some games because Red Zone makes it feel like there's always a lot going on. You know what I mean? Scott Hansen and the games changing and all this stuff. It always makes it feel like it's a big deal and there are all these crazy plays happening and all these highlights and all everything. And it doesn't feel as bad because you're getting a great game on a Thursday, you're getting a great game on a Wednesday, you're getting a great game on a Monday, you're getting all these great primetime slots, Saturdays, a lot of Saturday games late in the season. And it's like the NFL, they can really do whatever they want. So it's not like, oh, they better be careful because it's like, what's really going to happen? People are still going to watch the games. But you definitely already hear the chatter and you see the chatter that it's like Sunday at 1 is no longer as like exciting as it kind of used to be. But I mean, that's just the world that we live in today. Unfortunately. You want to talk some Phils? You want to talk some baseball?
Yeah, let's talk of baseball. So this is our Phillies roundup. I mean, I feel like, I mean, we haven't talked about this team because we were bad as them for a certain point. Now we're not. Dude,
Yeah. Can we talk about the Mets now,
can
I
we
guess?
can we dunk on the Mets now? Is that acceptable? I feel like it's acceptable.
Yeah, the Mets are very interesting because they're very injured. They just flashed. I was at the funny enough, I was at the sports book yesterday just watching the games. Like it was a nice time
Maybe we should
loitering.
talk about that
I
gambling.
know, I know. But they flashed on the screen the Apple TV broadcast of Yankees Mets, significant Mets injuries, and they had legitimately 12 players, most of which were like everyday guys or useful players that play all the time. And it's just like it's a lot. It's really like, okay, Phillies, Harper's gonna get hurt, and Turner's gonna get hurt, and like another pitcher's gonna get hurt, like multiple bullpen arms are gonna get hurt, and it just listen, you can't expect to win much if all that stuff happens. But even before that, they were also really struggling. And honestly, it just goes to show that not to excuse like guy like Dombrowski or whatever, because obviously there's definitely meat on the bone that he left with building this team and stuff. But there is a fine line of like stupid money that we talk about and like spending it wisely. And it did feel like the Mets kinda spent money just for the sake of spending money, you know what I mean? Like, they went out and made all these acquisitions, they made all these moves, none of which I, like, disliked individually. Like, I thought, like, moving on from kind of the stank of Brandon Nimmo, Pete Alonso, like, I kinda and Jeff McNeil, I thought that kinda made sense to an extent, but, like, Brandon Nimmo's having an awesome season with the Texas Rangers, he really is. Pete Alonso's off to a pretty slow start in Baltimore, but it's like, okay, you move on from those guys, and you go get
Well,
Marcus
guys are
Semien.
typically so I don't know. Some power hitters, I feel like when they switch leagues, like guys that like tend to strike out a lot, like
Yeah,
they
you
kind of
gotta you gotta adjust, and that's
they
fine.
adjust. And I think Pete Alonso is going to be fine. But to your point, I
Oh,
agree.
yeah,
I
but it's like,
agree.
I thought getting Jorge Polanco was nice. I thought getting Marcus Semien was nice. I thought getting Luis Robert was great. I thought, all those moves I thought made sense. I thought Freddie Peralta, he's a bit of a five and dive, but like he's still a solid arm to have in the
Dog, it
rotation.
felt like the friggin' Mets GM plays MLB The Show nonstop, and he's like, "Oh, Torre Blanco's swing is so good, we got to bring him in."
Yeah, no,
He's
they
replacing Pete
just
Alonso. Like that's the thing. It's like that's like if the
yeah.
Phillies got rid of Bryce Harper and replaced him with like Jorge Polanco. Like
No,
everyone's gonna
yeah.
be like, "What the f are we doing?" Like,
Yeah, no, it's not
could you
good.
imagine if Dave did that? If you think you hate Dave Dombrowski now, imagine if he did that.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a fine line, and the Mets spent a lot of money for the sake of spending a lot of money,
And they
and
spent
it's
a
just
lot of money to do it. That's the
yeah,
insanity.
it's just not translating, and it's not going to this year. This year is pretty much a lost season, like kind of already for them. Like it's a you can't win a division in May, but you can definitely lose it, and you can't make the playoffs in May, but you can definitely miss it. And this is like it would just take really unprecedented circumstances. Everyone loves to bring up the 2019 Nationals. Everyone loves to be like, "Well, the 2019 Nationals, they did anybody can do it." And it's like, "Hey,
Nah,
man,
it's
the
different.
2019 Nationals were a incredible team. Like, full stop. They were an incredible team that grossly underperformed in the beginning of the season. Because if you look at that roster when it's all said and done, a team that what were they, 19 and 38, and it was like, oh, they ended up winning 93 games because they had 20-year-old Juan Soto had a 5.1 B WAR season, finished ninth in MVP voting, had 34 home runs and a 949 OPS. Anthony Rendon, before he stopped caring about baseball, was one of the most feared hitters in the whole sport. He was an all-star, a silver slugger, and finished third in MVP voting, 34 home runs, 44 doubles, a 1010 OPS. Unbelievable. Trey Turner had an 850 OPS and a 4 WAR season. And then you just mix in like the fact that Howie Kendrick at 35 had a 2.8 WAR season and a 966
Yeah, you
OPS.
had some very good power of friendship players involved.
Brian Dozier had a 1.3 WAR season.
Exactly.
Victor Robles had a 4.2 WAR season. He was that good defensively in center field. And then it's like, okay, the lineup maybe whatever. Outside of those top stars, it was just kind of fine.
Yeah, but you had Scherzer,
This was the only season that this was one of
Strasburg.
the only season that Steven Strasburg was healthy through 209 innings, had a 5.7 B WAR season. He finished fifth in Cy Young voting. Patrick Corbin, again, because of how far he's fallen, people forget Patrick Corbin used to be actually a really good player. And the only reason I would call that signing a success for the Nationals is because of how good he was in 2019. 5.1 B WAR season, 202 innings of a 3.25 ERA,
Remember when
11th
the
in Cy Young
Phillies
voting.
were this close to signing him?
Yeah, I mean,
If
it's
we
like thank
signed
God we
Patrick
didn't, but
Corbin, we would not
who
have
knows?
signed Zach Wheeler.
Yeah. Max Scherzer, third in Cy Young voting.
Yeah,
All-Star 5.3 WAR season.
first ballot Hall
Also,
of Fame pitcher
their
Max
fourth
Scherzer,
their
by the
fourth
way.
starter, their fourth starter, 35-year-old Anibal Sanchez had a 3.85 ERA across 30 starts, 3.2 B WAR. Like and again, F WAR, these guys are definitely probably different, but it's like and their fifth starter was a mix of like Eric Fetty and like Joe Ross and Jeremy Hellickson threw a handful of starts for them. And it's just combined, they were all about average. And you talk about that for your fifth starter when you have, and then their bullpen and guys like Sean Doolittle had even a down season, but was still good. And
Jeez, Michael, the way you're describing this Nationals team, it's almost like the Phillies are closer to being this Nationals team than the
yes,
Mets
like
are.
that's the truth. The point is that it's like everyone loves to say when a team has a slow start that had higher expectations, oh, the 2019 Nationals, they were this scrappy bunch too. It's like, no, the hell they were not. They were a great team that underperformed and then got hot and rode it all the way to a World Series and happened to beat an Astros team somehow. That was like I can't fathom how they did it. But um, all that to say, the Mets are not turning it around. I'm gonna say it now. I don't think the Mets are gonna turn it around and win 90 something games and make the playoffs and go on a crazy run. They're just too hurt. They really are. They're just too hurt. But the Phillies, on the other hand, since firing Rob Thompson, are 13-4. Again, we talked about it right before the firing happened. We talked about right when the firing happened. They were going to be good. They were going to go on a run. Things were going to turn around. with or without Rob Thompson. Like things were turning around, no doubt about it. And maybe you needed the wake up call, I guess. But you're taking care of business against bad teams. 13-4 in your last 17 against teams that are probably not going to make the playoffs is very good. That's what you're supposed to be doing. They're winning in a lot of different ways as well. The big thing has been how great their starting pitching has been consistently, but they've also managed to win games now where it's not as good. Aaron Nola, most recent example, was not good
We're
last
gonna have a
night.
little discourse on him
We
later.
will.
We're gonna set him aside for now.
Yeah,
I
they come
have
back.
yeah. So because we do this weekly roundup, so last week the offense was tremendous. They scored 6 runs, more than 6 runs in one, two, three, 5 of their 7 games last week, right? More
It's
than
great.
6 runs or more, which is great. That's well above average, right?
Yeah.
This past week, so far, they've only scored more than 6 runs twice, with last night's amazing come from behind win included. But I'll say this though: the Red Sox pitching, Michael, the Red Sox have good pitching. That's not the issue for the Red Sox. It's their defense and their bed hitting
And
is
that was just a tough spot too. Like you're
shambolic.
traveling, you were at home for a little bit. Now you're going to Boston, and it was like very dreary and rainy and gross out. And like, hey, it was just a tough series. But you got it out 2 out of 3. Like they haven't lost the series, um, post Thompson, and that's the big thing, man. Like if you could just guarantee me 2 out of 3, like I'll be so happy. And they're just finding ways to get 2 out of 3. And last night, I honestly before last night's game, I really thought I did not like the matchup. I did not think they were going to have a shot, and it really was like that until Schwarber did his thing, and then the rest of the
Bryce.
Bryce did his thing. Brandon Marsh did his thing the way that those guys have been doing it all season. And the bullpen really shut it down. So you got to give the credit where credit is due, and they've been playing really good baseball. Let's talk some Knowles. Let's talk some Aaron Nola, who is not off to a great start on the season. He's had a couple nice starts. He's had more bad ones, and it's annoying because last year obviously was terrible. The stuff was not good. Felt like he had dead arm, and then he was also dealing with like an ankle. Comes into this year off a nice playoff game against the Dodgers, has a great WBC, and he's just it doesn't look like last year, but you're getting similar results to last year. And I think that's where it's leaving us a little frustrated because, like you said, his stuff is about as close to like prime level Nola as it's been in a while. Like it's been probably about a couple years since his stuff has looked this good. His fastball's been this hard, and the breaking ball has had this much bite. Um, but the big issue with him is his command. He's walking more guys than we're used to, and then he gets caught nibbling, and it feels a lot of pressure to throw a strike, and he ends up just grooving something
Yeah,
right down the
and
middle.
right, and what I'm about to say, I'm not making excuses for him. It feels like every time there's been innovation with baseball, like with the pitch clock, he struggled with the pitch clock. ABS, he's not going to get those like out of the zone strikes, as many of those out of the zone strikes anymore because of ABS.
Sure.
But now we're so he's trying to like dot his pitches, like he's
Hmm.
like Greg Maddux,
Yeah.
and he panics when he gets guys on base, and that's when he starts getting clobbered. If you go on Baseball Savant, we talk about all the time. I can't highly recommend it enough. If you look at his heat map on where his pitches are, his four seam, the majority of them, like, are right down the middle. So
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
he's
It's not
struggling.
good.
Is he just throws his fastball right down the middle. So we're like, okay, what okay, like the most obvious solution for him is going to be locate your fastball better, right? We could say that.
Yeah.
That's one
Here,
option.
here, here's the savant breakdown look here. That John was referencing, the heat maps. Love baseball savant. I could spend hours on this website. You see where the knuckle curve is red. This is a good place to be. You're right at the knees and below, down and away to righties, down and into lefties, and he's having great success with the knuckle curve, like he's had most of his season. Sinker down and into righties, down and away from lefties, pretty good, keeping it in this quadrant, this corner. Changeup also down into righties, down away from lefties. Again, you see where the heat map is. Some a little, maybe a little more too red out of the zone, but again, you don't want it in here like the four seamer. This is the heat map of the four seamer is literally T work. Like that is not where you want to be. Like you want this a little more probably just not super red right down the middle because you don't throw 97. Like if you threw 97, you can maybe get away with it, but you don't. You throw 92, so you don't get away with it. And my hypothesis as to why this is happening is Aaron Nola was never like it never looked like he was trying too hard out there. You know what I mean? It didn't look like he was really getting it in just to hit 92. It was like his mechanics were easy for you. And he had a lot of success with that over his career. And now after last year where it was like he could barely hit 90, 91, like the curveball was hanging up way too much. I think his big adjustment was I need to throw and work harder just to get my stuff to where it kind of used to be. In turn, it's sacrificing command. So his command is not as good, and thus leading to more pitches out of the zone, thus leading for him to feel he needs to throw a strike, and thus grooving a fastball right down the middle that gets crushed. The answer we've talked about a little bit before show. You mentioned it here. Maybe throwing the sinker more than the fastball. Get a better feel for the sinker and throw that some more, just to have a little bit more movement on your pitches. But like ultimately, when Nola has a good start, it's because the command is good and the fastball command is good. When Nola does not have a good start, it's because the fastball command is bad. Like it's straight up. You go look at any of his good starts and you see his in zone rates and whatever, and it's like, well, it's the fastball. It's in there for a strike, and he's throwing it for strikes and not missing. And when it's bad, it's because it's low, and then the ones he does put in the zone are right down the
I
middle.
think
So
what hurts
it's
Aaron Nola's fastball right now, Michael, too, is I think he's becoming very predictable. He's been pitching for so long.
yeah,
If you look at like a Zach Wheeler though, like he adjusts like every year, kind of what he does, how he approaches
yeah.
hitters. I mean, I think a great example is look at his last start against the Red Sox. 16 pitches in 3 innings. You texted me. You're like Maddox.
Yeah.
I was like, no, he's better than Maddox. Stop it. He's better than Maddox is through soft. No, he's better than
Yeah,
Maddox.
it was funny. I
Better
remember.
than Maddox. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a shame. We were so excited for Nola in the WBC, and now it's like I'm dreading his starts again, and it's
Well,
tough,
I
man.
think it's to me. I wonder now because see, here's this is where if Donnie Baseball see like no one's really given him credit for the last 17 games.
It depends who you ask. I think some people are. I'm not, but some people
I think
are.
anybody who's with that is with a serious brain realizes this comeback probably was gonna happen whether Topper was the manager or not. The
Right.
reason the reason why you can't Topper technically, I think the reason why is because Topper never really made adjustments.
He
And
sent a
now
message, and
and he
you're
sent a
getting some
message,
peace.
but I think because Topper would kind of sit on his hands a lot, and this is kind of a thing where if maybe Don Madden, if I was Don Mattingly, I would go to Knowles, I'd go to Caleb Koth, and be like, Aaron, like this isn't a knock on you. I trust me, I was there. I played baseball too. You need to make adjustments with the fastball. I think maybe what if we mixed in more sinkers and cutters and throw a little bit less fastballs, especially with men on base, to try and get a guy
Listen,
out
I
front.
don't think Don Mattingly's doing that at all. I think if anything, that's Cotham. Like, maybe
Well, Cotham's
Mattingly
boss
says,
is technically now Mattingly. That's his
yeah.
boss.
I'm just saying though, like the role of a baseball manager, it's not like that. It's not like a NFL coach even. You know what I mean? It's just like there's so many numbers and stuff that and analytics people and people upstairs and assistant coaches and stuff that have all this access to information and stuff. A lot of a lot of there's like a structure of a skeleton
Even
that kind of
Preston Mattingly's like, Daddy, tell Aaron to
no,
throw
no,
more
I just think
seekers.
no, I just think there's in terms of what the manager actually does, setting lineups and bullpen decisions, like there's just general guides, I think, to what you're supposed to do in that situation. What Mattingly has done, I'll say, that is tangible and not like fake, like, oh, he's getting them to try harder. Like that's sort of bullshit. The only thing that he's actually doing is he's giving guys that are struggling off days. And it's been kind of reaping the benefits. Alec Boehm has been great, since his couple 2 days off. And Trey Turner got a day off, and they said it's because he was sick, but it's like he came back from it, had a couple hits, so it's like it's nice to see. Adolis Garcia got a day off yesterday, who's been struggling. So he's not afraid to give the old school adage of like, oh, he just needs to take a day and see it. Where Topper was very much like, I want to put out the best lineup that I can do, and I want my guys to be in there for it, and they'll work their way through it. And until it really got gross is when he finally started like giving a guy a day off. You'd have to be bad for almost like 2 months before Rob was taking you out of the lineup.
Casty played
Where
almost 162 games in one season.
right, and like granted, there were clearly some other factors at hand with that situation, but Mattingly seems to not be afraid to do that. And honestly, like so far so good, like in terms of just getting the guys to clear their
Well, I mean,
heads
maybe he
and get
picked that
out
up when he
there.
was with the Blue Jays last year, where it's like,
I mean, whatever. I just think that that could just be him. That could be his belief of like, listen, sometimes I needed a day off. Like, and I'm not even. It's not to say that he can't do anything right, Mattingly, but it's like it just feels like that's a sort of
I think
difference
that
where
that's a very
we
good
see that.
observation you made too, because you look at Topper's man, like his coaching career. He coached
Yeah,
so many years with the Yankees, where it's like maybe Joe Torre didn't really do that a whole lot because, like, well, when you have Derek Jeter and you know guys like Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada,
yeah,
like Hall of Fame level type players, like
yeah,
where the Phillies they kind of have some guys like that, but like the Yankees quote unquote glue guys versus the Phillies glue guys are like there's different levels to that in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Like uh
Sorry.
like a guy
But
like Paul O'Neill can work his way out of a slump. Uh
no,
I'm not
sure. Yeah,
I'm not so sure if like 33-year-old Dolis Garcia might need a day to reset.
yeah. Um, Before we talk about my 3 stars, I do wanna give some, like, honorable mentions, the guys that aren't on the list that are playing really well. I mean, I can't believe there were actually people that bought into Bryce not being elite anymore, and, like, Bryce, after the first week of the season, was, like, cooked because Bryce Harper is ridiculous, and, like, ultimately is still a very, very great player. He's sitting at, like, a 900 OPS right now, and he's going through, like, a
Well,
cold stretch. Like, it's
hold
just
on for a second. I think I agree. The discourse wasn't fair. I agree, but Michael, he's been playing since he was 19. How old's Bryce now?
32, 33,
14
something
years
like
in
that.
baseball. If he was called up when he was like 22, we'll say, he has the
Listen,
mileage of a guy that's
saying burnt
36.
out, I think he might have felt a little burnt out at parts of last year where he was just getting lazy and was like just waving at pitches. And listen, he said, I want to take 140 walks or whatever. And like, obviously, he's not going to walk 100 whatever times. But that approach of his has led to significantly more successful at bats where he is more selective and he's taking his walks when they come and he's hitting the shit out of the ball when he does. And it's like he's really locked in offensively and he's had 4 hits
Well,
again
then
last
there's someone
night.
who's reaping the rewards of that, and well, you take it away. This is your little
Yeah,
segment.
I mean, listen, we'll talk about other guys like not on my or that are in my 3 stars later, but the guys that aren't, it's like Bryce has been great. He really has. Marsh has been great all season. And a big thing with Marsh is he's cutting the strikeouts down a lot. And listen, Do I expect him to hit 350 all season with a sub 20% strikeout rate? Probably not. But I at this point, like he's been your third best hitter all year, and I can expect him to just keep hitting the ball hard. And like if he keeps not striking out and putting the ball in play hard, like he's gonna have successful at bats. The big thing when we talk about BABIP guys, what do we talk about? We usually talk about like Luis Ariz. We talk about guys that put the ball in play a ton, but don't hit the ball super hard consistently. We're not talking about guys that are ripping the ball all over the field that have high BABIPs, because the guys that do hit the ball that hard tend to hit more home runs, so their BABIPs aren't as high because they're not batting the ball in play. Brandon Marsh obviously is not a home run hitter. He's not a guy that's going to hit 25 home runs. He's probably not a guy that's going to hit 20 home runs. But he just hits the ball so hard on these line drives. He sees himself a lot of singles, sees himself a lot of doubles. He had a ball that was barely, he had a ball last night in the extra innings that was, I don't know, a foot from the top of the 21-foot wall in right field in Pittsburgh for Roberto Clemente. That was a home run in 25 out of 30 parks. And that's just like, all right, thanks. Bryce Harper hit one that was inches away from a go-ahead grand slam. Also, like,
Oh,
great,
that was
cool.
like, dude, I thought
I
I
thought they
thought
were going to
I
lose
thought it was
after
a
that.
homer when he initially hit it, and a fan interfered
I
with it.
No, I thought they were going to lose after that, but they didn't. Also, shout out Jawan Duran, since he's come back from his IL stint, has been wonderful. He really, really has. Um, Shout out Jose Alvarado, who's been solid since he had that bad outing. I think it was against the A's, maybe. Um, and shout out Orion Kerkering, uh, a guy that definitely would have been very easy to just like never be good again or not be good here again because of what happened. And he's really been steady and solid. And listen, man, he picked up the splitter, and that's really been a big equalizer for him. But the sweeper has the numbers on it that has been as good as it's been in 2 years. It's definitely worked its way back up to towards closer to elite status of like, okay, this is a guy that like isn't totally uh useless anymore. Like he has some juice back to him, and his savant page. The thing that's very alarming is his whiff rate and his strikeout rate is still not good. He's not getting the strikeouts and whiffs as much as I'd like him to, but he's still getting a lot of soft contact. 99th percentile in opponent expected batting average, which means they are just simply he's 100th percentile in average exit velocity. So he is missing barrels to a ridiculous degree, not getting hard hit balls at all. Um, if he can tick up those strikeout numbers, he really becomes locked down at that point. So those guys have been very integral to the Phillies winning recently. And then these three guys, my three stars of the week. Here we go. All right. We can all see this here, John.
Sorry,
There
loading
it
up
is.
now.
You're fine. Michael's 3 stars, 13-4 in their last 17. Pretty good. My third star of the week and listen, I'm calling these of the week, but sometimes these bleed longer because they've just been playing better for longer. But definitely of the week, Alec Boehm. Since sitting 2 games, Alec Boehm, 24 plate appearances, 9 hits, 3 extra base hits, 1 walk, 2 homers, 5 runs batted in, only 2 strikeouts. He had the 2 home runs in the first game after getting sat for 2 games. But since then, he's just been like pretty normal Alec Boehm, which is normal. Alec Boehm is a nice player to have in the lineup. Maybe you don't want him hitting fourth, maybe you don't want him hitting fifth, but it is useful. A guy that comes up with runners on base, and like classic Alec Boehm single comes through for you. He's slashing 391 with a 417 on base and a 696 slugging for a 1-1-13
And I
OPS.
may I add something there, Michael?
Yeah, please.
So Alec Boehm was off to
Across
the
eight
weird.
games or so.
What's that?
This is
Oh,
across like 6 games or so, by the
yeah,
way.
it's for the last week. Yeah, so I always expected Alec Boehm to bounce back. I didn't think he was going to hit 140 for the entire season. A lot of people
Yeah.
were like thinking that. I'm like, no, that's
He's not a
not.
400 OPS player.
Yeah, like I get it. You want to get a new third baseman. Like I agree. Last year in the offseason, I was like, "Oh, we get Bobichette, flip boom, get some maybe like a bullpen arm or something, whatever."
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, Michael, he's kind of single handedly kept their defense afloat, and no one has talked about that.
Yeah, he's been very steady at third as well. It's very honestly, I got to give him a lot of credit for his defense just as a professional. But he really has been steady over there. He really like almost saved the game yesterday with a great diving play to get an out. That was huge in the bottom of the 10th there. But like since the benching, his numbers are still not good, like no doubt about it. But when he was benched, his season stats were 159 batting average, 227 on base, 277 slugging, and sorry, a 227 on base, 206 slugging. Like the slugging was less than the on base because he wasn't hitting any extra base hits for a 433 OPS. Now, in the last week, he's raised his batting average nearly 40 points to 195. He's raised his on base around nearly 30 points to 255. He raised his slugging 76 points, and his on base or his OPS, excuse me, jumped from 433 to 536. So, like, again, long way to go before you become a league average hitter again over the course of a season. But I would very much be up for the rest of the season seeing tweets. Since Alec Bohm sat 2 games, he's hitting, you know, 298 with a 800 OPS or whatever. And I'd be like, that's great. Like, thank you, Alec Bohm, for getting it together. I saw a stat. It was a Corey Seidman tweet. It was like every year of his career, he's had like a 6 to 8 week stretch of like a 800 OPS or so. And not that that's like anything spectacular by any stretch, but it's good. And it's to show that like Alec Bohm isn't a terribly useless player. Like he's a good player. He's a fine player. And you're finally getting fine results. And it's a big reason why they've been scoring runs. No doubt about it. My second star of the week, making his debut, I think, in my stars, Justin Crawford. The
Oh man,
rookie,
Justin
the
Crawford.
the rookie has really jump started this run that the Phillies were on. Obviously, they fired Rob and they won a couple games, but they were staring down the barrel of a doubleheader against the San Francisco Giants, to which Justin Crawford um, hit uh was it 2 walk-offs in the doubleheader, or am I misremembering? No, Chase Sugart had 2 wins in the walk-off, but he had the
No, no,
one
no. So Justin Crawford had the walk off in game one. Alec
game one.
Bohm, your third star of the
Yeah,
week,
he had the
made
yes,
a game
yes.
saving defensive play
Excuse
eh,
me. Yeah,
um, the inning before, and then when he was up to bat, had the game winning sac fly.
yes. Justin Crawford in his last 16 games, 53 plate appearances, 16 hits, 4 walks, 2 doubles, 1 triple, 2 home runs. His first 2 home runs of his major league career. 8 runs batted in, 3 stolen bases as well. The first home run coming in a game tying home run in the 8th inning against the Rockies. They did end up losing that game. However, that was really cool for his first home run to be such a big one. And then he hit one in Boston in a spot that he turned around a Sonny Gray middle in fastball to did one of the hardest parts to homer in Fenway Park. And I was shocked it went out. And it's just to show that, like, this is a guy that if he really makes good swing decisions, I do think there might be a good hitter in there, and it's something that is definitely worth continuing to monitor. He's obviously a rookie, long way to go for his career, but to be like an impactful hitter for the whole season for us, it really would be a nice boost.
Well, can
Over
I?
these,
May
yeah,
I?
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say you mentioned. I'm sorry, Michael. I want to talk about
I
him
just
too.
I just wanted to finish the stats before you go. His last
Okay.
16 games, 327, 377, 531 slash line, 908 OPS, has an 892 OPS in May. Um, the Phillies very weird thing. They got about 4 guys that have great numbers in May, and they have about 5 guys have great numbers in May, and 5 guys that are absolutely putrid in May. Crawford's obviously in the good range with Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, and Brandon Marsh, and then and Herbs and Alec Boehm, and everyone else is everybody else. But yeah, go ahead. What was your point?
So what I was going to say was that I remember when he had a really bad error, and I think you were like you mentioned to me, you're like, John, I don't know if he's good or bad. Like I don't know, and I was
It's
like,
just frustrating.
well, people were
He's just
giving
a
him
rookie, you know.
well, people were starting to give him a hard time about it, and I was just kind of like, a lot of people bitched and pissed and moaned about us running the team back every year. They're actually giving a young player like the opportunity to basically be an everyday player, right?
And it's like they would have given Aiden Miller an opportunity if his back wasn't in shambles, but that's a whole nother issue.
That's
Like
a whole different
they
conversation.
had plans to do this, is my point.
Right. And like we wanted a younger guy on the team, and like he's basically like this is like he basically right now is like Harrison Bader but like cheaper.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, defensively, not
Defensively
close,
obviously
but
not, but
that's the big thing for him. Defensively, he needs to get better because. So I was looking at some defensive numbers, defensive dive of Phillies players, along with good friend Nick,
yeah,
and
it's not good. It's obviously
I was just looking at some differences and where these differences align because the defensive metrics they're very different. You know, Justin Crawford has like -9 defensive run saved, -8 defensive run saved. Maybe it's like he got up a little bit, but that's pretty terrible, right? But outs above average and fielding run value, it's only slightly negative. It's only like -2, -3, like where he's in negative, but it's pretty close to average defensively. And defensive run saved has him really bad. So what I think the difference is it seems like defensive run saved is more of a metric of like consistency and making good plays on plays that should be made and making them, easily in that way. And the other metrics like can get balanced, counterbalanced by making some spectacular plays. So Justin Crawford has made some plays that are like, wow, he really is just that fast that he's able to get to that. And he's so tall with extremely long arms that he's able to jump up against the wall and make a play that most guys can't make, or it's a lot tougher for some other guys. But the more routine plays are not great. And it's because he's getting a very bad jump. He's like -3 feet like above average in terms of his jump off the ball. And that means that when a ball is hit somewhere, the average center fielder is 3 feet closer to the ball by the time Justin Crawford starts moving. That's what that means. And listen, that comes with reps. That comes with experience. That comes with just playing. So like we're just gonna have to deal with it. We're just gonna have to go through those growing pains. And like obviously it's had its very negative impacts on the team as the Phillies, the worst defensive team in baseball, has been a big reason why a lot of their pitchers early on struggled. So I do think there's a good fielder in there eventually. I just think that it might take a little longer than we had all hoped. But I mean, again, he didn't grade well in center field in the minor leagues. So I'm not really sure why people could have expected him to grade well in the major leagues at center field. He graded pretty well in left field,
well,
but
looking at his scouting report, I mean, it sounds like to me he's listed obviously in his scouting report listed as an outfielder, not necessarily center field.
yeah,
Like it's not bad. I mean, his fielding, it's not like good, but it's not bad. Like he should be like an average defensive player, ideally.
he should be a better defender than he is because of his speed. And his speed is why he's able to like the one play he made sliding in Boston where he was running in and was like, "Oh wow, what a play." And that play had like a that catch probability was like 80%, where it's like he just had a really bad jump, but he's so fast and athletic, he was able to catch up and make up for it. It's kind of like Chandler Simpson last year, the Tampa Bay Rays, the guy that's, extremely fast. He was horrible in the outfield for them because he got terrible jumps, got terrible reads. And in just one off season, he's made himself into a much more respectable fielder. because
Well, I
that
think
speed is such a
the
weapon out
most
there.
famous example of a guy that like as a rookie was literally like who's fast, who was like shambolic defensively, who turned it around very quickly. Bobby Witt Jr. I saw
Yeah,
someone crack
his rookie season defensively was terrible. Yeah.
like the joke on him was, oh, he had a 20-20-20 season, 20 homers, 20 steals, negative 20 defensive runs saved.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. So listen, it's an adjustment. I'm not to say it's worried. It's gonna kind of suck for now, but whatever. My first star, my great first star, none other than Kyle Schwarber. May 17th, last night's game against the Pittsburgh Pirates. The earliest date in Major League history for a player to reach 20 home runs.
That's insane.
Unbelievable. Truly unbelievable. And he cleared it by a few days as well. So really is spectacular. So last 19 games for Kyle Schwarber has been on an absolute tear. 87 plate appearances, 22 hits, 13 walks, 12 home runs in those 19 games, 3 doubles, a triple, 20 runs batted in, 297, 402 on base, 851 slugging percentage for a 1253 OPS. Truly video game numbers. And then really what's just vile is his last 8 games. He's slashing 353 batting average, 421 on base, 1147 slugging percentage for a 1568 OPS, including 9 home runs, having 2 more last night to just really get the team back into the game. Some pretty remarkable stats. The Phillies now over the last 3 years are 73 and 22 when Kyle Schwarber hits a home run. It's no doubt about it, like the MVP of the team in that way. Some other pretty crazy stats from Sarah Lang's grade on Twitter. Most home runs in a team's first 45 games of the season. Kyle Schwarber this season with 20 joins 1923 Cy Williams, 1956 Mickey Mantle, 1997 Ken Griffey Jr., and roided up 1998 Mark McGwire, 2000 Mark McGwire, and 2001 Luis Gonzalez. And the only 3 players in the history of baseball that he has less home runs than through their first 45 games are 1994 Ken Griffey Jr. with 21 home runs, and Ken Griffey Jr. I wanted to do how many home runs they finished with. Ken Griffey Jr. finished with 40 home runs, but that was a shortened season because of the strike. 2006, Albert Pujols hit 22 home runs in the Cardinals' first 45 games. He finished with 49. And the guy with the most home runs through their team's first 45 games, none other than 2001 Barry Bonds, had 24 home runs and obviously finished the season with 73 home runs. So Kyle Schwarber is sitting amongst one of the greatest, 2 of the greatest players of all time, with Albert Pujols, Ken Griffey Jr., other GOATs like Barry Bonds, obviously allegations, but steroid stuff, other steroid users, Luis Gonzalez, Mark McGwire, and Mickey Mantle and Cy Williams. So Kyle Schwarber is among a very, very unique group of special talents and special major leaguers throughout the history of baseball. He really is incredible and is like, honestly, it feels like he's going to be a Hall of Famer at this rate. Like, him and Bryce Harper are both on a very violent chase for 400 career home runs by the end of this season. And honestly, it feels like we're going to be in August and September, both the guys having like a realistic countdown number to get to 400 career home runs. And that's pretty crazy. It really, really is nuts. Schwarber needed, I think, 60 to get to 400, and Harper needed 40, something like that. And it just feels like we might see it, man. It really does. The way these guys are swinging it right now. Kyle Schwarber is so important for this team. There's a lot of people I know that were, oh, it's a lot of money for a DH, that sort of thing. But it's like that stat last 3 years, 73 and 22 in games that Kyle Schwarber hits a home run. John, if they had like a league average DH, I mean, how many wins conservatively are you turning into losses across those games? 73 and 22 when Schwarber homers the last 3 years. If they have just like a normal run of the mill DH, what do you think that is?
Probably a lot more losses than that. Probably like only be
500, you think?
50
Like a
win,
500 record?
50, wait, 55 wins?
Maybe.
Well, can
Maybe.
I well can I bring up some of the games? So obviously last night their comeback, they were down by a lot, but Kyle Schwarber really cut into the lead, gave them a chance to win last night, right?
Hmm.
The big one is the game in Boston on Thursday. Lost between the NFL schedule release, the subsequent
Dude, hold on. Not to early season baseball, because it's still early. Just the way that stats fluctuate is so funny to me because Kyle Schwarber entering last night was hitting 226 with a 355 on base, 610 slug, 965 OPS. Last night, batting average jumps 11 points, on base jumps 10 points, slugging jumps 35 points, OPS jumps 45 points. His OPS went from 965 to 1010 in a game. Sorry, but just crazy how baseball is.
right, of course. No, it's early season. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is funny. No, like, dude, Phillies couldn't touch Ranger on Thursday. Everyone was like bitching about letting him go. You know how you know about how I feel about Ranger.
Whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
We love Ranger Suarez. We appreciate everything he's done.
Hmm.
And then like they bring in a lefty to go after him and Bryce, and you're like thinking you're. I was thinking to myself when he couldn't even touch the zone. I'm like, this guy's either gonna just straight up just walk Schwarbs, or he's gonna be a dummy and try to get like a throw a get me over pitch again, like just to get a strike. And
Hmm.
he does, and Schwarber golfs one 410 feet and past the Red Sox bullpen in right field. You know, that's the one
Hmm.
thing too. We no one really talks about Kyle. A lot of his home runs too, because you brought it up too. But like, he's kind of like the Phillies. Like he's kind of like our David Ortiz.
Yeah, no, it's been this adage has been thrown around between like some Philly media members, definitely that me and Nick have talked about it a few times, where it's like when you first signed him, I was very excited, and then it got to the point of like, well, what if you extend him? And it was always like, well, your hope is just like he's this era's David Ortiz, where it's like as he just gets older, he seems to get better and is just gonna DH and hit the shit out of the ball. And John, well, so far, so good, man. I have to say, it's so far so freaking good from Schwarber. He's just really good. He really is just a machine. And he walks so much, which I love. Like, look at those numbers the last 19 games: 22 hits, 13 walks. Like, it's just a lot, you
I,
know.
and like knock on wood, this is the first time I've ever heard people talk about if Kyle Schwarber hits 500 home runs, he's definitely a Hall of Famer, right?
He has to be. I really do. It's one of those things where because the way he's not gonna like limp to 500 home runs. You know what I mean? Like the way he's on pace to get it. What did he just sign? A 5-year, 4-year contract or 5-year contract? I forget.
5 year.
Was
He's
it
only
five?
32.
Is he? I thought he just turned 33.
Oh,
It
well,
was a 5-year deal.
I
Jesus,
think him and
Schwarber's here.
Judge are the same age.
Schwarbs is 33. He turned 33 in March. 5-year deal. I mean, the way he's swinging it, he's going to get 500 home runs by the third year of this contract. Like he might get to 400 this year, and then he'll be 100 away. And you'd like to think he's probably going to hit 100 home runs in 2 seasons the way he's swinging it. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
I know it's
dude,
hard to project, but
it's funny that like because there's a new Twitter account. It's called That Guy Rocks MLB. Like they
yeah,
first
I've
did
seen it around.
right, like they showed Ryan Howard, like Ryan Howard, that guy rocks, and you're
Yeah.
just like, gosh, like you could see how a guy like that can affect the game besides just like the power threat. And Michael, not for nothing, I think Bryce being back to like 2021 Bryce, that has only helped Kyle Schwarber because what are you going to do? Put more men on base for Bryce Harper
Yeah,
to
I mean that's really been a
punish
big
you?
thing that's unlocked Schwarber. I think the last couple years too, hitting him directly in front of Bryce has helped a lot. Um, it's helped Schwarber a lot. Obviously, he was great before, but he really has hit a new gear the last 2 seasons. Um, Yeah, I mean, your lineup is as good as like the guy hitting behind him is what it feels like at times, where you maximize that value in that way. So hopefully Schwarber stays hot. Hopefully Harper stays hot. Hopefully the team keeps winning. They got a big game tonight. Um, this is a good series. Listen, rivalry weekend. Known hated rival of the Phillies, the Pittsburgh Pirates, I guess. Back in the day, maybe, but we're about 50 years removed probably from that being anything actually meaningful of a rivalry. But the Braves and Red Sox, I guess, hate each other too much to put that together. So, with that being said, we had a great game last night. We have another good pitching matchup tonight, Christopher Sanchez versus Bubba Chandler. And then tomorrow, Sunday, is going to be a cream of the crop pitching matchup between Zach Wheeler and Paul Skeens. So I'd love for the Phillies to split one of these next two and take 2 or 3 from Pittsburgh and just keep stacking wins. And listen, they're currently sitting at 22 and 23. I mean, listen, you could get to 500 today. That'd be awesome. Um, I would love the way their schedule goes. They got 2 more against the Pirates, then they play the Reds at home, and they play Cleveland at home. And my hope here is that they can give themselves enough space above 500 before they head out west to play the Padres and the Dodgers. Not to say they're going to go play 6 against those teams and lose 5, but that's a tough road trip to make that you want to give yourself some sort of cushion in case you have a
I
shitty West
agree,
Coast
but I
trip.
think too if they can kind of carry the hot bats into the Padres, because you want to beat them because of Casty. Come on, man, you know that.
Yeah,
You
I guess
know,
he'll be on the team for that.
right?
He's
And
not
then
getting
and then
DFA'd.
like come on, and then, like come on, like don't you want to see like a Ryan Kerkering close it out a game like a 7-2 win against the Dodgers? And
Dude,
don't you want to see
will it
that? Don't
will
you
it
want to
make
see
it
that?
will it make it all fine?
Well, no, but like, don't you want to see that? I want to see that. I don't. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
man, I want to.
Come on. You
Oh, I know, I know, I know.
you're gonna
So you got stacking.
you're
Listen, you
gonna
got to stack these
experience
wins.
it.
You got.
You're gonna see it, and you're gonna be like, John. you know what, John, you're right. You know what, I did want that. You know.
I do want. I'm not saying I don't want it. I
Well,
want more.
so like, I don't know. Like, kind of wrapping this show up here. So uh, tomorrow's gonna be is gonna be appointment viewing for Phillies, Skeens and Wheeler, because knock on wood, Michael. I had this thought the other day. I'm sure I don't know if you or Nick thought about it too. I mean, if Wheels just pitched his lights out the rest of the year, come on, bro, doesn't he kind of deserve a
Do you
Cy
think
Young?
he's gonna get a? I don't. It's
Like if it's
tough.
got
I feel
like if you had like if you have to debate between him and Killer Chris,
Sanchez, dude, Sanchez is unbelievable right now, and Skeens is very good. And like, not for nothing, there's a new competitor in this field. Otani is pitching. He has like a .4 ERA at the moment or something. So like, that's he got robbed in 21, and
how many home runs does Otani have? Because I just want to bring
he's
up
not
something.
hitting. Yeah, I guess we can close a little Dodgers point. He's not hitting nearly as well as he has hit previous
Do
years
you think
because I
he's in
think he's
debt with
putting
the?
such
Do
an
you think everyone bet his over on
no,
home
no.
runs and he's in debt? They're gonna break his legs if he doesn't hit
I
below.
think uh I think he's putting a heavy emphasis on pitching and like listen, what he has done throughout his career, obviously it's like GOAT level. We've never seen this before, but it is clearly very difficult to pitch and hit at a very elite level. Um, so he's got to get his hitting stats up, before it becomes like, what do you value more? And they've honestly talk about giving days off. They've given him a couple days off. When he pitched, he didn't hit. They had a true DH in the lineup, and then I think the next day he just got like a full day off. So they're kind of, I think, realizing that it just takes a big toll on the body, and he's like getting a little bit more added rest. And like we talk about the Dodgers, whatever, and complain, but they make the sort of moves in order to be able to do this. You know what I mean? They go out and get Kyle Tucker because it's like, listen, we want to give Otani some extra days off so he's ready to go for the playoffs. And that's what we want it to be. And that's what they're doing. So, um, yeah. Well, John, next week, or maybe, I don't know, we'll see. Next week's gonna be pretty busy. We might have to take a week off, but we'll see. Uh, we do have, though, an Eagles schedule to break down soon. We will be June 1st will be very
Yeah, I'm
soon, and
excited
we'll
to
see what
talk about our
happens.
award winners because I curated something the other day, and
Is
I
that
felt
something a parlay?
maybe. Um, I don't. Well, listen, I don't bet my whole paycheck like I'm never
No,
gonna
you're
get to
betting
a
to
point.
win. You're betting to win a paycheck. That's what you're doing.
I jokingly called it the down payment on my house.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but we'll talk award winners because that's always fun. I was when we were talking, I was going through Twitter and I saw that Martone is in the Canada Worlds. He's playing on a line with Celebrini and Crosby, so that's fun.
Yeah, Martone and assist the other night. But yeah, we'll talk about more stuff as it comes. But that'll do it. Enjoy the beautiful weather it is today. It's gonna be
Yeah,
a
I'm gonna have to
warm one.
touch grass. I don't know
Yeah,
about you.
definitely have to touch some grass and enjoy some fills later on. So that'll be it. Thank you all for tuning in, and yeah, we'll catch you when we catch you.
See you later.
We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.